you get Chris, client, natal chart, rage, whatever else, and then
Passion.
passion. How often are you saying you should have this nature and they weren't aware of it? And at that point, are you then going, and so to be more effective in business, you should be heading in this direction as opposed to the one that you're in?
So it's not about the nature you should have. Rather,
Darn it.
Alex, continue.
Love the one you're with.
Hang on,
Huh, Alan?
hang on. Wait, let me mute. Oh, Ellen just got muted. Sorry about that. Welcome to Who's
Alan,
Controls.
stop hating on Chris here.
No, it's welcome to the show, everybody. That's why I have to
keep him grounded.
That's why I have to. What? Never mind, Ellen. Can't keep talking. I just muted him again. All right, back to you, Ellen.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
We're back on, Ellen, and we have quite a guest to get to today. But before we do that, everybody, have had quite an experience. Alan, the adventures of Chris and Alan. The adventures of Chris and Alan. I got to bring Alan along on a little Big Daddy Day. We went to the World Cup here in Atlanta, and it was, Alan?
It was epic.
Epic.
It was epic. I've been to a lot of big games. I've been to national championship games. I've been to SEC championship games. I've been to playoff games. I've been to everything almost. I haven't been to a Super Bowl.
I have not been to a Super Bowl.
And this wasn't even a marquee matchup.
It was supposedly not a marquee matchup.
I figured at some point, we've got 8 games in Atlanta. At some point, a ticket will tumble down to me somewhere. And then I found out, they're $1,000 a piece minimum. Nothing's tumbling my way. Well, then I get the call from Big Daddy saying, hey, I'm trying to sell my tickets, but if I don't sell them by 3:00 tomorrow, you want to go? And I'm like, of course, I'm in. So I look it up. It's Congo, Uzbekistan. I don't have a dog in the hunt. It barely matters, although Congo needed to win to possibly get in. And it still was freaking epic. It was every detail that, and everybody complains about FIFA, but everything was absolutely perfectly organized, choreographed. And then, of course, I got to hang with Big Daddy in a hosted bar. We had rack of lamb and duck, and then the dessert bar. And then there were the entertainers that were in the suite, kids, doing soccer ball tricks, light up hula hoops. It was just unbelievable.
It's over the top.
It was over the top.
It was one of the joys getting to watch Alan enjoy something that, and I enjoyed it as well.
Did you write that off for charity?
That was charity. That was a nonprofit giving back. That was Make-A-Wish Foundation.
I feel like Jerry's kids.
I did it. I made a wish happen. But guys, it was amazing. And what Alan's talking about was just the environment around it was so electric. I mean, from the time we parked to the time we left, the hairs on the back of your hands are just, they're just on the arms, they're tingling.
Watching the Uzbekistan parade, the police escort bringing them into the stadium. It was unbelievable. And there was a buzz in the arena for a good hour and a half before kickoff.
It was amazing to watch these countries support themselves, and not countries that here in the U.S. we would think about much. We never do. But the thing, you take some business lessons away from this, and you talk about how can you get a rallying call around something like that in your own business, and how do you get such a fervor of passion and people following you that are willing to drop, as Alan mentioned, lowest ticket in there for that match was $1,500. And the matches going forward, the lowest ones I've seen so far have been $5,000.
I really felt obligated to eat and drink a lot just to make it worth it.
You did a good job of that, buddy. You did very good, especially because you had your driver with you. So it was amazing. The World Cup, again, if you're not a soccer fan, just go watch and read some of the stuff around what has happened and how it worked here. I think the greatest thing, too, is that Canada and the U.S. and Mexico hosted this thing. And there was a lot of, especially for us in the U.S., a lot of trepidation about what other people would think about us across the world. And a lot of people were nervous about it. And social media came back and just said overwhelmingly, great job to all three, Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. People actually will come. Best phrase I ever heard is, the people are great, the environment's great, the management a little suspect. But we're still going, and we love it. So we're going to keep rolling. Now, let's get into that podcast. You know, Alan, one of the things that we like to do is we like to stretch our minds a little bit.
Yeah, I would say we are open-minded dinosaurs.
We are open-minded, but more like dinosaurs. And today's guest is going to open our minds. But before we do that, one thing that I will tell you is that I've read a lot of the Bill O'Reilly books. And the one that I read last was called Killing Reagan. And in Killing Reagan, they talked about how, and again, if you don't know the trilogies or what he does, this is not just about him dying, it's about his life and what he did to become president of the United States, is that his wife, Nancy, was a big force behind him. Do you know who was a big force behind Nancy?
Her astrologer.
Her astrologer. You knew that.
I did know that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, no, I've read that book.
We talk about having business consultants, coaches, people helping us in our business, because let's face it, when you start off on the biz, that's why we started this podcast, man. It's lonely. So you're driving around in your truck right now, maybe you're sitting in your office listening to us on the side while you're trying to get something done. Maybe you're taking a walk, doing whatever you're doing. It's still lonely. And you still have that sense of loneliness. So we're always trying to find that way to do it. And when this guest came up, I'm going to give credit to Cindy, because she's the one who booked this without me knowing.
She probably was laughing a little bit.
And,
like, let's see what the boys do with this one.
She's already giggling. She's already texting me saying, can't wait to hear how this goes. We have Aleksandra Ceho on, who is the astrologer to your billionaire lifestyle. In fact, I just gave her a new tagline.
You did?
But I did. Aleksandra, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Chris. I'm so excited. And, poor Nancy, she took a lot of heat for working with an astrologer. They ridiculed her for it. And the funny thing is, if you go back in history, kings, military leaders, royalty, they consulted astrologers all the time.
All the time. All the time. When did that become out of favor? Was it your people?
Was it the Italians?
The Pope?
When the Optimus Papas came in? I don't know. When did it? Because you're right. You say that. You look back on the Egyptian, the pharaohs, they always used stars, astrologers. Those were the people who gave them their visions. And I have the quotes out for you. So yeah.
I really think it was during the Industrial Revolution that started to change. And so, like, even into the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, royalty still consulted astrologers. And then when the Industrial Revolution, particularly the Second Industrial Revolution, which is the one that most people think of, came on, because the Industrial Revolution came in two waves. And so especially with the advent of the second, that was when astrology started to fall out of favor. And so that's when even royalty started falling out of favor around that time as well. And so the decline of working with astrologers kind of went hand in hand with the decline of working with royalty.
Interesting.
So
did you catch that key? What she just said was, if you want to be rich, you want to be royalty, you need to get back with an astrologer. I think that's what she's saying.
But
I don't know.
It shows that anybody can become a millionaire, but if you want to be a billionaire, you need an
J.P.
astrologer.
Morgan.
Is that right?
J.P. Morgan said that.
Really?
Yes.
I thought that was you. It wasn't?
No.
Oh,
No,
here we thought that was your tagline. Shows you what we know, Alan. Thanks for the history work, Alan. Great research.
I'm so
Alan.
stupid.
Fine.
I need an industrial revolution.
It was J.P. Morgan who actually said that, and he worked with astrologers.
Really?
And he loved studying metaphysics. And there's actually a form of pink emerald that they specifically named after J.P. Morgan because he financed the mine that it was pulled from. And so it's called Morganite.
No kidding.
In honor of his name, yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Now let's get into it. You're right. All of us are sitting there going, we're skeptical.
Yeah. Well, and
but-
I mean, so you have known people your whole life who are like they read the horoscope back in the newspaper days.
All right, so let's go back to the newspaper.
Yeah.
I back to the old newspaper thing. Not only did I know people, I had one person in particular, my mother.
Really?
No kidding. My God-fearing, Catholic-going, Lutheran-converting mother would read the horoscope every day and tell me, as a Pisces, what was going to happen to me.
Well, and then also, if,
the
as
next
a
day.
Pisces, you dated some girl who was a whatever, and that's not going to work, right? I mean, that's kind of the way I always knew it.
My mother never did that to me. Sounds like Mom had a different club to use with you. No, yeah, my club was Christopher. She's not good enough for you. Okay, thank you, Mom.
That's a loving mother. Oh my gosh. Well, the newspaper is certainly
That was nice. She
one
was sweet.
one art of astrology, but I really call that marketing more than I call that astrology.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So let's talk about astrology. How do you help us? What is it? How do you make that a verb? Astrologic? Astrology?
Astrologize you?
Yeah, how do you astrologize us?
I love that. We're gonna patent that word and stamp it and claim it. So astrology is primarily the art of two things. So the first thing is that it is the art of knowing thyself. And this is actually really important. And Chris, Alan, you've both come from like professional backgrounds, and I'm fairly certain that you have come up against your own nature in your careers and after embarking, into entrepreneurship. And so there are times you come up against your own nature, right? And
100%.
and so part of the work of astrology, the first and foremost part of that work is to know thyself. And this is really important because the premise of building a business, if I talk about it from an energy standpoint, is that it is the art of manifestation. And I don't want to use that in the woo-woo sense of the word, because a lot of people, talk about manifestation as if I just think it, it's going to happen. And that's not that, well, that's a very surface level way of describing it.
Whoops,
So
I should have talked to her 18 years ago, Ellen.
Yeah, you should have.
so
No
there's
more. Chris, you were on your woo-woo phase, buddy. You are your woo-woo manifestation bullshit phase. I love it. Thank you. You're already helping. Actually, you've said one thing that's key. I mean, that's important. Know thyself. We talk about this a lot. You got to know who you are before you start this stuff.
But okay, so I don't know anything about this. Back to the newspaper, okay, I'm an Aries, you're a Pisces. I don't know if we should be in the same room together, but are you saying that what time of the year you were born in has something to do with who you are, and then that could shape what you become?
yes, but we need to add a little more info to it.
Okay.
Ooh.
So the premise of zodiac signs really derived from marketing. So it's not that the zodiac signs are irrelevant. It's that marketing took a piece of astrology that was accessible to everyone and used that as a way of bringing people into buying books and taking courses and that kind of thing. Because the real work of astrology is to actually produce what is called the natal chart. And your natal chart is formed by your date of birth, the time, and the location. Today, you can go online, you plug in those details, and it will automatically calculate that for you.
That's your natal chart.
That's your natal chart.
And what will be on that chart?
So what's in that chart is basically a map of where the planets were, basically what zodiac signs they were located in at the time of birth, as well as their orientation according to the time of birth. So we have what are called angles. And so, were certain planets hanging more so towards the eastern horizon or the western or below the horizon? And all of these things matter because that creates a snapshot, and it speaks to the archetypes that reside inside of you and the forces that you work with in order to live your life.
I wonder what your
And
planets were doing to create the rage that you live with,
I
Chris.
mean, which side were they hanging on?
Yeah.
I think they were hanging right in the rage mode. I'm going to go look that up. My natal chart probably says full on rage until the day he dies. The secret is always stay angry. And
Yeah.
that actually is from Hercules.
Don't drive heavy equipment.
Oh my God.
my gosh.
All right. Natal chart. Okay. Got it. Not naval chart. Natal chart. Look at
It's not your belly button.
That's right. I know. I was looking down actually. When she said that, I went, what? Oh, no, there we are.
No,
Okay.
I don't think anybody wants a map of their belly.
No, not this guy.
No.
Although strivingly for solidly
Bad
overweight,
picture.
it's on his way to his.
No, you were at the
annual-
gym at 5 this morning. I'm impressed.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Okay, all right. So know thyself. That's your natal chart, and then you were telling us what's the next thing.
There's the second art. And so the second art is the art of forecasting. And this is why astrologers also often royalty often consulted astrologers, because the astrologer, if we go back hundreds of years, very often was one of the most educated people in the entire kingdom.
How about that, Alan? And that's another thing about religion too. That the reason a lot of religions have somebody who reads at mass is because many of the people could not read in Catholic Church. So therefore, your priests, your higher ups, your all the religious people were quote unquote more erudite, more smart than you were, and so you would go there as a dumb person, and they would get to talk to you.
You're looking at me like I'm the dumb person.
Well, no, I'm talking to you because if you didn't know this, Alexander, you're about to. Alan comes from a long line of preachers, and he has busted out of it.
What do you mean? The fact that I'm not a preacher?
Yeah, you did good. I'm very proud of you. But
Do you
it's just
want me
Preaching
to
to
be a preacher?
podcasting.
That's right.
he is preaching from the pulpit of the podcast. That's Alan, baby. He's going to have his own podcast soon called the More Small Business.
That's right.
All right.
The bigger small business.
The bigger small business safari, right, as opposed to the more trusted toolbox. Back to you, Alex. All right, sorry.
Inside joke, Alex.
So knowing that they were smart because they were well read. They knew how to read. They had all this stuff. So in essence, the royalty, as I remember, they were not that educated, as it were. They were more educated than masses, but not as educated as these guys.
Right.
Hey,
Because astrologers could do math. They could read, and they knew about nature. And very often royalty consulted astrologers for things as simple as, well, maybe not so simple, as understanding what the seasons were going to bring. One of the most famous aspects of astrology that was used back then was actually weather prediction. And if we go back in time, the Sumerians, they derived the nature of the planets in astrology by watching the effects of the planets on weather. And so that was actually how they derived the nature of these celestial bodies. So they observed that when Mars was in certain places, it would be hot and dry compared to what that season is supposed to bring. Whereas if the moon was overhead, in a specific way, it brought cool, moist weather, right? And so they noted the aspects of the planets according to their effect on weather. So
she's waiting for us to go, ooh, or waiting for us to go, you're full of no. You know what? Not gonna lie. I mean,
well, I wonder
the moon controls our oceans.
Well, and today's farmers, they rely on the Farmer's Almanac, which I wonder
used to get every year.
How much of that has something to do with celestial?
Is the Farmer's Almanac based on celestial positioning and astrology?
Not to my knowledge. I think that's more like observation of cycles, like weather cycles, if I recall correctly. But I'm also not a weather astrologer, so I can't say that with complete accuracy. There are people who literally study that, and that's their thing. I am not a weather astrologer.
All right, let's bring it back to business, because that's what we're talking about. We're going from millions to billions. Hey, JP Morgan.
And I want that.
Okay, so Chris is the case study.
Call me CP Morgan La Lamia.
So if you were working with Chris and he's like, I don't know, I need something, and he comes to you, what's the process?
So the first part of the process is that I always work with my client on their natal chart. One, I need to get to know them. I need to know what their strengths are.
We already established
that.
It's rage.
Thank you, Ellen.
Well,
right. We'll come back to me in a minute. Thank you.
I guess there's a competitive advantage to rage in a business. It's just that it needs to be conducted internally and not externally with your clients.
That's
right?
a positive, Chris.
Thank you. Actually, I've used my rage. And it's called passion, by the way. Passion.
Yes.
Oh.
Passion.
Thank you.
It's a two-syllable word.
Yeah, but I need to get to know my clients, because their key strengths and qualities, that tells me about their competitive advantages. And that's important, because what gets you ahead in a business is not you trying to mitigate and fix problems. It is you showcasing why basically you deserve the business that you receive. And so when you put your best face forward, then that's part of what helps you step ahead.
So you let's okay. You get Chris, client, natal chart, rage, whatever else, and then passion. How often are you saying you should have this nature, and they weren't aware of it? And at that point, are you then going, and so to be more effective in business, you should be heading in this direction as opposed to the one that you're in?
So it's not about the nature you should have. Rather,
darn it.
Alex, continue.
I love the one you're with.
Hang on. Wait, let me mute. Oh, Ellen just got muted. Sorry about that. Welcome to
Ellen, stop hating on Chris here.
No, it's welcome to the show, everybody. That's why I have to
keep him grounded.
That's why I have to. What? Never mind, Ellen. Can't keep talking. I just muted him again. All right, back to you, Ellen.
So yes, you need to know your strengths, and it's not about the nature you should have. It's about taking whatever nature you have to the next level. Because people are really good at relationships on a one-to-one level. Well, then how do you translate that same diligent approach to relationships to multitudes?
That's a good point. All right, so expound on that. That actually is to move on off of Chris. But that's interesting, because tell us how we take our positives, our strengths, and move those up, because that has been the hard part. That's the one where everybody has said, man, Chris, it seems like you're just at that. You're just right there at that peak. You're almost over. And I'm like, 15 years later, still haven't done it. All right. So we want to get to billions. Keep going.
Yeah. So when it comes to translating that gift to multitudes, very often I actually have to look at Saturn in the natal chart, because what you do one-to-one is easily supported by just you alone. To take that same skill and to basically scale it, if we're going to use the lingo here, I need to look at how you build and support structure and your relationship to structure. Because for people who are highly structured and who understand structures, taking that same ability and translating that to larger masses, you'll never be able to scale to exactly the same quality as you do one-on-one. That's the truth of things. However, if you understand and have a good relationship with Saturn, i.e., you have a good relationship with structures, you are discerning, and you're able to bring in structures that replicate what you do, in terms of the one-to-one, then you can actually recreate that on a higher scale. So in this instance, I would actually look at an alternative aspect of the chart. Right. And then I would also look at Saturn's complement, who is Jupiter, who is the planet of expansion. And it would also, I would also question, is that what you are actually being known for? Is that a piece that is being showcased? Right. And so these are questions that we need to ask, because it also needs to be part of the storytelling of what you are doing.
Hiring the right people shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Smart Hire Solutions LLC, they take a smarter, more human approach to hiring. Smart Hire Solutions helps you get the right candidates, carefully vets, presents only the best fits for sales roles, lead technicians, key team members, in-home services, construction, and many more. No resume pile nightmares, no wasted time. Today's labor market is tough to navigate, and having the Smart Hire Solutions LLC team on board makes it smooth sailing. Founder Tina McKenna brings decades of real-world experience, not only in recruiting, but in marketing. She runs this thing like a business that's involved with you. Check out their fresh approach at yoursmarthire.com. That's yoursmarthire.com. Or connect with Tina McKenna on LinkedIn. That's Tina McKenna with Smart Hire Solutions, LLC, yoursmarthire.com.
So if Chris's relationship with Saturn sucks, for example, then do we take a different route for him to be successful? I mean,
Yes.
I'm trying to process this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, Alan. Continue.
So here's the cool
You're about
thing.
to get muted
You
again,
can
buddy.
actually heal your relationship with each of the planets, because yes, you can have a bad relationship with some of them. You know, anybody who's had serial bad relationships, well, they
I'm sure Chris
probably
is
have.
pissed off every one of them.
I have not, Alan. So there's some people-
Name one that you haven't pissed off.
Name one planet?
Yeah.
Pluto.
I
Because
don't-
it's not a planet anymore. Suck it, Pluto. You like
Oh,
that?
you're mocking it.
I am too. Suck it, Pluto. Did I piss?
Wow.
See? So,
Pluto doesn't care about any of us as individuals. He affects us on a collective anyways.
oh, there we
Oh, you
take
just
that.
tanked the whole pot.
I did. How did I do?
God.
No, actually, he introduced a really great thing for me to talk about.
Thank you.
Redirection. I got you, Chris.
I dig Alexander. Hey, I'm looking for a new co-host. Says Chris, like every third episode.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my
No.
gosh.
And yet
Yeah.
here I am.
No.
But
4
you
and a
really
half years
can
later.
heal. You really can heal your relationship with each of the planets. And this is where part of my work comes in, because when I step in with people, sometimes it involves teaching. Sometimes it may involve, depending on the scale of the business, right? If I'm working with a solo entrepreneur, it's very different compared to somebody who is already scaled. You know, sometimes it's a matter of bringing in the right people to support that, because sometimes it's hard to be absolutely amazing at everything at all times, right? And so
It is
sometimes
hard.
we learn
Is
through
it, Ellen?
absorbing
It
from others.
Nice, Ellen. All right. Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, so we start with the natal, right?
And we moved on.
We did.
So what I'm interested in is give me a case study, right? Talk to me about a business owner who came in, they were struggling, and they're trying to. I assume most people are trying to break through, trying to, you know, I'm here, I'm in the quagmire. You said something that was very interesting. We use it in the non-astrology world. I would say if somebody could do something you can do at 80% of your level, let them do it, right? Let them do it, and then just guide them and coach them. But talk to us about somebody you've come in and helped them, and they were able to know themselves and then move on and line up the planets. What's that what you said?
So I have an interesting case, because the statistics on buying a business tend to be a little bit better than starting a business.
Where was she 18 years ago?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, continue.
Not too late.
So I was working with a wonderful woman who had bought a business. And the business was actually two businesses. So there was a front end, which was online courses and that kind of thing. And then there was an associated company with products, like natural health products, that kind of thing. So when she bought the business, the courses were the money, or the revenue generating aspect of the business, not the products. And she bought the business, and she was promised, like, there was potentially multiple millions of revenue from this business, and it wasn't happening. And despite advertising, the events were either losing slightly or breaking even at best. So this business went from generating surplus profit when she bought it to breaking even at best. However, there was growth in the product aspect of the business, but not enough at the moment to offset what was happening. So she started consulting with me. And what I did was I actually did a natal chart for her and for the business itself. Because the business itself is also an entity.
So you looked at his birth date for the business.
Yep.
Alan, guess what Chris is doing after this podcast?
You're going to restart your business on a good date.
I'm going to find the date that doesn't suck as much as mine.
What is the best date for Chris to restart his business?
I know. All right, but talk about this for a minute. All right, so you went back, you looked at this, and then tell us what you did to help her consult and change her mindset.
Yeah. So the need of the business was that it needed a flashy personality. And that was, yeah, it needed an Alan.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what
Alan's not flashy. That's bullshit. Overrated.
And like, I don't want to say there was a gimmick to, because a gimmick is not entirely the right word. However, the original owner, basically put a lot of mystique into themselves, and that was part of how the course is sold, was because nobody actually got to see the owner ever. They only heard the voice. So there was this mystique, which was also part of the drama that this business would thrive on.
That's kind of why the small business safari is going like it is, because nobody knows who you are, Alan.
I know. I need to be flashier.
No. You stay behind the scene, Mystique. You are a Mystique. In fact, that's going to be you're not Binky anymore.
Mystique and mistake are just, it's a fine line.
You know what? You were Binky in one episode, and you are now Mystique. Now, if you haven't heard Binky, go back and watch it. Dusty Holcomb, get out of the jar. It's awesome. All right, keep going, Alex. This is good. But all right, so you were able to figure that out all from the natal sign of the start of the business. And okay, I'm digging.
And then I compared it to my client, who is a highly educated, very respectable, but not flashy woman, who was a lot of knowledge and a lot of authority. So her nature versus what that business needed in order to succeed did not match. And it was just a place she didn't feel she could go to in integrity. And I don't blame her. Some people just aren't.
You got to be who you are.
That way, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
You do need to be who you are.
So what did she do?
The second business, when I started speaking to her about that, well, that was the piece that took off. And because her ability to source and promote and get the product into larger scale suppliers so that it could be sold started excelling.
Interesting.
So she was able to start generating the revenue and the profit from the other side.
What do you think of that, Alan?
Well, so did she end up hiring somebody to be the flash on the first side, or just focused on the other side?
We actually redirected the approach.
Okay.
We redirected the approach because the flash was only one aspect of how that business could thrive. So you can take the same zodiac, because it was based on one of the zodiac signs of the business, which in this case was Leo, right? And so there is a flashy element to Leo. However, there is also a side to it about leadership and authority. And so what we did was we started redirecting the educational component to like governing bodies of different healthcare professions. so that it could be basically like an accredited course.
All right. Very interesting. So you took her from $1 million to $1 billion? Because sign me up. No, I'm kidding. But obviously you helped her. So it unlocked her, got her out of her own way, right? I think that's another thing that we talk about. Because we talk to so many business coaches.
She directed her in the way that she was going to be successful.
Well, she was sitting there going, but I need to be this. And you can't be that. You got to be over here. That's what I mean about getting out of your own way. Is like sometimes I think we got to be this and we got to be that. And you know what? Maybe astrology worked there, Alan.
What did J.P. Morgan use it for?
J.P. Morgan used what's called financial astrology. And there is there's a specific branch of astrology that actually pertains to investing. And it works with the teachings of a man called W.D. Gann. So there's something called Gann theory. And what it does is, yes, Gann.
I'm not going to lie. For a guy who was in the banking business for 10 years before this, I've never heard that. Maybe that's why I didn't. I mean, I got to a level. I mean, I did all right, but oh shit. All right. Gann theory. All right, go.
Yeah. So Gann theory was actually quite big. More so like in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And it was primarily studied by people who were associated with Rosicrucianism. And so that was a lot of people who were tied into like the early banking and governments and that kind of thing of those times. So there's a branch that's associated with that. And that is for more large scale economics. And that's not the piece that I do as much. However, there is some relevance to what's called mundane astrology, because mundane astrology also indicates where society is going and what's going to be important. And so mundane astrology is used a lot for politicians.
AKA Nancy Reagan?
AKA Nancy Reagan.
Yes.
Because it speaks to the values and the incoming kinds of consciousness for the collective. And you can do mundane astrology specifically for a country, or you can do it for the world as a whole.
All right. So let's talk about how do people find you, first of all, because we're coming, we got 10, 15 minutes left, but here we are, people are listening. We know that people start dropping. How do people find you, and who do you want to help the most?
So everyone is welcome to find me on my website, astrologerroyale.com. And I actually have a free ebook while they're there. It's called Star Powered Resilience, and it's a guide to your professional strengths and talents and navigating professional stress based on your zodiac sign. So you're welcome to download that. And I love working with entrepreneurs. I also work with corporate executives. However, I have a particular passion for entrepreneurs, being an entrepreneur myself. Mm-hmm. And so I love seeing people take up that challenge of facing yourself, because there are very few things that will make you face yourself, like starting a business. Marriages and children will absolutely do that too. There's nothing like looking at your own mini-me. However, starting a business is a really good spiritual look in the mirror.
Absolutely. Entrepreneurialism. So if you guys aren't watching us on YouTube, you should. Small Business Safari. We're putting it out on YouTube. Michael's helping us out. We're getting a lot more video out there for everybody. You're going to out there get little snippets about this because as I found out that people don't like long format anymore because we're a little too quick. Shut up, Alan. Back to me. But we talk about all the stuff we're doing. Entrepreneurialism. There is no way, when you started, there is no way to look somebody in the crucible. You had a kid. Having a kid, probably the most life-changing thing that anybody's ever had. When you stare at a kid, you know your life is going to change hard. When you start your business, if you don't think about that the same way, it's the same thing. It is traumatic and it is hard to go. That's why 9 out of 10 businesses don't make it through the first year. That's why we started this podcast, because when I started my business, when Alan started his business, we didn't have these resources. We didn't have the ability to go listen to us, have a little fun for 45 minutes, but also learn a couple things about maybe I got to get outside of myself and listen to somebody else. So astrology, I did. I came in a skeptic and walked out going, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go look up my natal chart.
Good for you.
All right. There we go. All right. Let's get back into some more fun. All right, astrologer. Am I going to make $1 billion? No. I mean, let's just start to bracket task. So you work with people, you start engaging them, you'll talk with them. So you talk to us about how you get there. You talked about this great success story. Tell me about somebody who is totally like, I'm doing this because my friend said to do this, but I don't give a flip about this stuff. Ain't gonna freaking happen. Come on. And he came out of it or she came out of it going, oh my God, it worked.
So I originally started in personal practice. And so like I started with just natal charts for anybody. And then I graduated into doing what are called synastry charts, which are relationship charts. And that was when I met a lot of the skeptics because, very often women love astrology. They get it. They want it. And so I would be sitting on these calls with women and their husbands.
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun. Proud to say, after 4.5 years and 160 episodes, my wife has never heard one episode. So you won't be seeing us in couples therapy anytime soon.
Well, yeah, because that's how they were looking at it. They were thinking like it's going to be like couples therapy, right? And basically, because it's a female astrologer, she's going to gang up on the poor guy, and there was a lot going on there, and so they'd very frequently start out kind of salty. Or closed off or not participating. And that was where I encountered most of it. However, there has never been an instance, I can tell you that at the end of every synastry reading I did, I had guys going from, crossed arms, leaning back, giving me the eyebrow, to
leaning in.
What else? What else?
Come on. Really?
Yeah.
Dudes. All right, guys.
They were amazed.
Don't do it for couples therapy. Do it for yourself, right? So
you've got a handbook or something that people can download, you said?
Yes. Yeah. It's called...
Talk about that.
Well, I actually created that book because I wanted to make astrology more accessible to skeptics, quite literally. Because it's an invaluable tool. I know how much it's helped me. I started studying when I was 5 or 6. And
years old?
Yeah.
Ellen, what were you studying at 5 years old?
My navel.
Not natal. Navel.
Oh.
5. I was studying how can I get down the slide the fastest. Not going to lie. Got kicked out of kindergarten, or they called my mother because I started bringing up drinks of water because I knew if I could go down with a little bit of water on my ass down the slide faster.
And that got you into mechanical engineering.
There you go. I was just trying to get the need for speed.
Or testing your balance by standing up as you go down the slide.
Now, who studies anything at 5 years old?
I didn't study shit. I was wide open.
I loved reading. And my grandfather was an amateur astrologer. So I would read his books.
And now we know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you charted your path as your entrepreneurial success, what I'd like to know is what success looked like for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have, I guess you could say, business goals, but then I also have a mission, I guess you could say. And one of my missions is to restore the respectability of astrology. So marketing ruined astrology. I'm going to say it right there. I mean, marketing ruins a lot of things. It also sells a lot of things, but marketing ruined astrology. And if you go on Instagram, TikTok, social media, the way astrology is talked about is often kind of degrading to the human spirit. It's either a personality box, or it's really about lower ways of being, I guess I could say, and joking about lower ways of being and kind of justifying it. And that's never what it was. Aristotle used astrology to teach Alexander the Great about himself so that he could embody his highest qualities and strengths. And then you go and you look on Instagram, TikTok, what have you, and it's, jokes about how the different zodiac signs lose their temper. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate comedy. However,
I'm sorry.
that's not what it is.
It is this.
How did Alexander the Great do?
I think he
Well,
Yeah, he did okay.
He's all right.
Yeah, pretty good.
he did all right until somebody got hold of his birth chart.
What?
All right. Tell us this. So what I need to do, tell me what I got to hide. Because if I got to hide secrets, I can hide secrets. Hey, I'm really good at that.
I want to hear this story. This is the story to end on.
This Italian guy, let's do this.
It's not about you.
Tell
it's
us
about
what we need to hide.
Alexander the Great now.
All right. Tell us what to do.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide. Don't worry about that. But there was a rumor that basically, well, I don't know if it's a rumor, but there are certain texts that allege that when certain Indian mystics actually got hold of Alexander the Great's chart, they started cursing him. And that was what led to his downfall. Now, I don't know the entire truth of that, but I do know that is what is written in certain historical texts.
So I can neither confirm nor deny this. However, I have been told. All right. So lesson learned for me. What are you saying? I should hide my birth date from many people?
I guess so.
I think so.
Well, I mean, there's multiple reasons to do that. Sometimes you just want to be able to claim you're younger than you are, right?
What is your birthday, Chris?
Well, as most people say, I look great for 72. And to them, I say, F you. I'm not 72. I am just shy.
The more fun thing is to actually tell people you're 20 years older than you actually are. And then they comment about how amazing you are for your age.
You know what? I'm going to go for that.
Young you
Alan,
look.
I'm doing that.
Good.
From now on.
Yeah, you look great for 80.
Have fun with that.
I'm not even 60 yet. Asshole. Why do I bring him on? Alex, this has been great. All right. Again, how can everybody find you? Let's go make $1 billion, everybody. Go listen to this.
Let's do it together. You can find me at astrologerroyale.com and we'll connect and we're all going to make $1 billion and be awesome.
All right. Can anybody reach out to you? Just talk to them for a minute. Let them know they heard you on the Small Business Safari.
Absolutely. I would welcome that.
Yeah. We would love that. We got to make that happen. Guys, here's the deal, right? If you go God, if you go astrology, if you're going to do both, you can do both. If you want to go, hey, I'm just going to focus in on myself and make it happen, you can. But you know what? It's just a lonely, lonely strog to go all the way up that mountain. We got to keep getting up that mountaintop. We got to keep making it happen. And sometimes you got to do it with a team. And sometimes you need some help. Just like we talked about with my team at the Trusted Toolbox, you can't get up Mount Everest by yourself. Do you know how many people it takes to get you up Mount Everest?
A lot.
A lot.
Sherpas.
You know how many years it takes you to get up there? 3. Because you have to climb 2 other mountains to get all the way up there. Just remember that. It doesn't take you. It takes a lot of people. Ask for help. Do the help. Make it happen. Get up that mountaintop. Let's make it happen. We're going to talk to you next week. Let's go make some happen. Go it. Make it. Gotta happen. World Cup fever. Let's go.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day.